What is going on, guys? Craig1287 here, bringing you yet another VR gameplay video, this time taking a look at Freedom Locomotion. This is not really a game, this is a free thing that was given out. This is kind of a sample or a proof of concept of a locomotion system that's similar to something like Arm Swinger, and but it's more of like running in place meets Arm Swinger because it uses the physical movement of your head bobbing up and down to simulate that you're walking or jogging or running in place. And when you do the running, it actually takes input from the swinging of your arms to do a lot of that stuff. And they also have different forms of teleport and things like that. So I've actually already gone through this once before. Typically for my videos, click on ready to go to skip the calibration. So I've already gone through the calibration, so I'm not going to show you guys that, maybe in a future video. But we're just going to do that, more things talking about how you're going to be, interacting with things. So this is the hub area, and the way this works, if I can remember, it's been a few days since I've gone through this. You'll see here it has it says CAOTS. We'll just call it CAOTS for right now. Yeah, it shows me my time. So I'm not going to show you guys everything because there's so much going on with this CAOTS system, but I am going to show you the one that I personally prefer, the one that I've gotten used to so far when I first was trying this out, and yeah, I'm going to try to do my best to remember that the camera, I think, is right there. Yes, it is. That is the camera. And I'm going to try to show you on the controllers, and this is something that I think could potentially be the future, or at least the immediate future of VR locomotion. One of the things about Arm Swinger, I really love Arm Swinger. I think it gives you that really good sense of presence. Your body actually has, if you guys remember my video that I did for my VR essays, where I talked about motion sickness. Why does it happen in VR, as well as things like car sickness and seasickness? And it's that disconnect between the different senses in your body. The sense of sight, the sense of the vestibular fluid in your ears, that liquid that's moving, that's what tells your body kind of like where the forces are interacting with your body. When I move like this, my body knows that it's doing that, not right now because my eyes are telling me, because, well, actually I am seeing VR, but if I were to close my eyes aren't telling me that, but the fluid in the ears are feeling these horizontal G-forces as they're moving. When I'm moving up and down, the vestibular fluid is filling those forces vertically, and so there's a disconnect between the visual and the vestibular senses that your body's getting, and that disconnect is what causes motion sickness. So there's some things that you can do to try to counter that. There's no way to completely remove it other than full-on room scale. When I'm physically moving around in my room, I am getting the visual of walking around in the space that I'm in right now, and my ears, the vestibular fluid, is getting that sense of movement. So there is no motion sickness for the most part that's going to occur from pure room scale kind of things. But obviously not all games. I mean, I can't just walk over there. That's a few dozen feet. I can't just walk over there because eventually I'm going to run into my couch and things like that. So you still have to have fake locomotion things, and this is what it seeks to do. Arm Swinger, because your body actually has that sense of somewhat that it's doing something, and that matches the movement, it kind of counters the disconnect. It's still, there's no forces on the vestibular fluid that's happening that allow you to not get motion sick. So what this does is it allows you to walk in place. So on the touchpad, if I tap, you'll see here, I don't know if it's actually going to be showing up on the 2D display, but as I point my controller, and I can do it with my left or right, whichever one I do to tap, so that shows the direction that you're going to be moving. So this allows me to look this way and move this way, or move that way, or move this way, and it stays on my screen, so I always know what direction. That's an awesome thing. Game developers, take note. This is all proof of concept again, so please, I hope this catches on. So just putting my finger on that doesn't allow me to actually move. See, I'm bobbing up and down to simulate that I'm walking, but there's no movement. I actually have to click on it. Now you'll see it turns blue, so now I actually can walk in place, and you'll see that it's doing it with the timing. And if I want to walk over here, if I want to walk around the ball, I can continue looking one direction and I can walk around this ball. And if you want to move backwards, you simply move your thumb to the back part where's the camera again? Right here. You just move the to the bottom part of the trackpad, do that, and now you can walk backwards rather than having to like do this uncomfortable thing where you're like aiming back to do that. You can walk backwards that way, but it's a lot easier to just do it with your thumb on the touchpad at the back part of it, and you can just walk backwards. So if you have something like a gun in your hand, then you can still do that and be walking backwards and having the gun facing forward. So that is really cool. Now you can also, when you do that, you can double tap, and you'll see now it turns green, to where now all I have to do is just touch my finger on it. I don't actually have to click down on the touchpad, and so that's just kind of a nice little thing that he's done. So, of course, this is just walking, and I can walk in any direction. I can walk up to a sword, and I can use my things to like grab it. And now I can use this, and I can still walk around with this sword, and I can walk over here, and I can come up to this, and I can smack it, and I can do things. I can interact with things. I can pick things up in the world, and still do the movement, which is one of my favorite things about this. Because a lot of things with arm swinger is now I'm having to use my arms to actually swing it like this, which means it's hard to like aim something like a gun. Let's see, this is in semi-auto. I think you click that. Yeah, there we go. So I can like actually be walking and still, where'd that ball go? There we go. So now I can do that, and I can control it with my right hand, so I can continue to move in counter directions to that ball, and now we can speed things up. So this is where we get really cool, is I can do that walking motion, and I can do a running, or this is more like the jog. And I can actually run and approach it, and we can go into the run, and I can go up to swing. That is mind-blowing to me. Like, this has been such an amazing system that allows me to do that. And see, now all I did right there was I started out moving with my hand on the right one, and then when I wanted to actually do the swing, because this would change the the movement direction, I just used my left hand to then be the controller. So I was going like this, and when I want to swing, I don't want to swing and then change my run direction, so I just switch thumbs, and now I can do the swinging, and it is independent of where I can walk and then swing. So this is like, and I can keep looking in other directions, and I can turn it into a run, and you hear that wind sound. That's just yet another thing to help prevent, for one thing, it's just cool. It gives you a sense of that you are going fast, but it's now you've got this audio sense. The body has been trained over years of being out and moving, that that you're going to hear that sound across your ears. So it's just yet another cool thing to cut down on the amount of motion sickness that you can have, but also, for me more importantly, because I'm not somebody who is all that prone to motion sickness, I'm glad that they have it in there for motion sickness, but it also just immerses you much more. It gives you much more a sense of presence. And this system also has in the hollow, kind of climby system, where you can grab and jump on. I don't think any of this is interactable. Yeah, so the only thing is there's no jumping yet. I don't think there's, unless, yeah, I think that just kind of launches you forward again because it's doing the motion of your helmet, of your your HMD. But yeah, so having a system in place of doing jumping is that's another area that we're going to have to work on. So there's different environments that that the guy that made this has done. That's the tutorial level. I don't want to go in there. I want to go into the simple town, because for me, one of the first things that really stuck to me when I jumped into VR, oh, there's music. Is there a way to turn down game? I don't see a way to turn down audio levels, which is a bummer. Hopefully you guys can hear me over everything. But yeah, this is, well, since we're already here, this is where the guy has, now obviously you don't want to have this in all games, but this is where you can change things like what your handedness is, the movement system. Obviously, like I said, I'm using the CAOTS or CAOTS, or however it's pronounced, which is the whole aspect of arm swinging and bobbing up and down. But he also has dash and blink, and he's got cool things to it as to like how you can move the world around. Like you can squeeze the grips and then touch the touchpad, and it gives you that cone of field effect, so you don't get motion sickness, but you can swing the world around you. This is something that so many games could benefit from. And you can do that in all of these settings. It's got the grab turning and snap turning, which was what I was just doing, where I was grabbing to turn, whereas you can do snap. It's got things to recalibrate player height. Like every game needs to have this kind of stuff. The speed limits that you can do from just the bobbing of your head movement, and then also hand motion, how much you can actually get to for your speed. Again, that can, if you get motion sickness, you can turn that down. So games can be balanced based on this in mind. Dash step. This is like how the dashing works. There's just so much in here. Movement speed. Again, a lot of this stuff is also for comfort settings. You can adjust the individual sensitivity based on when you're walking, when you plan to jog, and when you run. When I went through that calibration process, it told you to just walk in place, and it came up with a sensitivity. Then it told you to jog, and it came up with a sensitivity. Then it told you to run with the actual arm swinging, and it came up with sensitivities. Now I've done some fine-tuning. It originally had different numbers, but I've since fine-tuned it to exactly what I want. But still, having that calibration process at the beginning is really, really awesome. Slide to a stop. That way, do you want, when your movement stops, do you want it to instantly stop in the game, or do you want it to sort of like trail off like a normal human would kind of do? So that's a really great comfort setting. Again, it helps to do comfort, because for some people that sudden change from movement to complete stop can make that motion sickness come in, because if you slowly stop, your vestibular fluid slowly comes to a halt. But if you do just a sudden stop, there's much more of a change in that vestibular fluid rocking back and forth, and so that again is going to help to cut down on that if you have that slow transition into a stop. HUD settings. I don't think I've ever even really messed with all that. Yeah, you can show speed, a speedometer. Yeah, might as well. Let's add that on there. Manually resize boundaries. So it has its own chaperone system built into it, which is really cool. Comfort mode settings for field of view, visible boundaries, things like that. Again, I don't need any of these things because this system just doesn't really bother me. But that's still awesome that these kind of things are added, and these are things that developers just need to start adding into all the games. All right, so where's that speed thing? All right, so there we go. I see it down there. It's that's cool. But all right, what I was saying was when I was getting into VR and stuff, one of the things that I thought to myself, I cannot wait till developers do this, and it really hit me when it did Climb, because that sense of climbing, stealth games, things like Assassin's Creed, the Thief series, let's see what else, Dishonored, those kind of games that have a lot of stealth. Even the ones that are more like stealth shooters, like the Tom Clancy, Splinter Cell, and things like that. Being able to climb any surface, like let's say this was some shooter, kind of like Rainbow Six Siege or something like that, or Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell, where there's guys are all in this building, and they've I could go through the front door, but it could be booby trapped. There's probably a guy obviously looking at the door. There's like a guard or something like that, and I don't want to obviously go through that. So maybe we approach the house from maybe this is the house. All right, so it's not this house, it's this house. So, we haven't gone through the front, wherever that may be. So we're going in from the side. So, there's kind of a gap through there. So this system, I really like how he does this, is it tells you visually when you can actually grab. It gives you that yellow thing. But I can't, it's not just these horizontal bars I can grab. I can grab onto even the corners. Oh, maybe it doesn't have it. Oh, here we go. See, there we go. I might have just been grabbing a weird spot, but it actually has it to where you can grab any kind of corners and whatnot. So this is like simulating actually climbing over a fence like you really would. Like you can grab onto any kind of surface, not just specific surfaces. And then I can come up here, I can grab onto this frame. So this has now become like Assassin's Creed, where you can glide. I can't just grab onto anything. See, this is what prevents it. It's not that this is a non-climbable surface. The surface is the same. It's how it's structured. Is it something that you actually could physically grip in real life? Obviously, if you're not trained, if you're not, doing a lot of workout and stuff to get your body in this condition where you can climb on these kind of surfaces, that's part of it. But if you're an actual trained professional, you have gone through the training. So climbing on something like, there we go, this to be able to get up onto a house, Imagine doing this in Assassin's Creed. Whoop! Oh, NFL. Yeah, it does actually prevent you from just being able to screw up and just catch yourself, because that's one of the cheap kind of tactics that I'll use in climbing. Is if you fall, you can just hold your hand, and the second you get to a surface, it will auto grip you on. So this one you actually have to like take a little bit of time to actually get it gripped on there. Let's see if I can reach this. There we go. So this just feels like Assassin's Creed, like you're climbing those towers in Assassin's Creed, and you're just getting up to these cool places. Like this has so much potential. And again, jumping would be cool. But so this would allow me to, for like a stealth game, like I could climb up here and get in through a chimney. I could pull a Santa Claus and like get in through the chimney, or you know, the second story window or something like that. Or I could climb a building next door, and let's say now this were the house, like I could do some jump. Again, got to figure out the jumping. Jumping is still a thing, but I could jump and get to the next building over. Like, just this potential is incredible. I mean, just scaling any surface, that as long as it physically makes sense that it's something you could grab in real life, is incredible. And then mixing it in with this movement system, like I can kind of scale this. Obviously, look, it's slowing me down. Like, that's awesome. And then I can kind of grab it on. There we go. There we go. Like, I don't know about you guys, but this blew my mind when I booted this up for the first time. Like this is just incredible. Now this entire area is a fully scalable area, and you could just, you know, once people figure out jumping, we can do like parkour and just dropping down. Like, I mean, this is just incredible. Being able to do this and actually run and walk and jog at the speeds that I want. See how it actually you know, handles the steps. It takes a little bit of extra time. Like, this is just, well, I'll spend my time there later. I mean, and anything, like I said, any surface. If I want to just grab onto this and hop in here, I can now I'm in the back of this thing. Come on, boys, let's go. You know, whatever you were doing in whatever game. Oh, I think it's doing the system where it actually pushes you back to prevent you from clipping into stuff. But yeah, like, I mean, this is just, oh man, I might have doomed myself by getting into there. We go. Ha! Cars might be a little wonky. But yeah, like I can get on top of this one if I want. And let's see if I can climb this. Yep. Any surface that just has these edges, these kind of corners. Let's see if I can get myself. Like, this is just, oh, there we go. That's awesome. That's awesome. Like, putting that in a game, like this is how you make Deus Ex and Thief and you know, all these kind of stealth games, like where you can come up with your own routes, like, and have them not be a giant flashing arrows that the developers put in the game saying, use this route to get here the stealth way. Use this route if you want to go the action way. And yeah, it's just, this is mind-blowing. Like, this is again, maybe not 10 years from now, you know, we got to make the changes to make things a little better, but for right now, like, if people can start implementing this game, this system into their games within the next year or so, like, this is the immediate future of VR. Now, obviously, you know, things like people with disabilities, you know, there's that, you still got to have that in mind. So you still want to have options like the blink system and things like that. But to be able to just walk around or run, you know, jog, and again, arm swing. Oh, cannot cross here. But and of course, as you guys, I don't know if my camera's picking it up, but right now my cord is really getting tangled around my legs, and I can't exactly do my full-on sprint right now. So obviously this system will benefit greatly, as will any aspect of VR will benefit from when we get VR to become a wireless thing, because cords just get in your way for VR so much. But yeah, this whole jogging in place system, it seems really simple. Like, it's like, why didn't somebody do this before? But it really does work. Like, just walking in place. Obviously this has a lot of health benefits. This getting, you know, VR in general has already had a lot of health benefits, but doing touchpad motion where you just, you know, touch on the trackpad and it makes you move in the direction, that doesn't really get you moving. This really can get you moving. But also, touchpad motion, you know, there's no head movement when you're doing it. You just kind of move straight, which doesn't happen when we move in real life. In real life, when we're walking, there's actually some bob to your head. There's some bob to the vision that you're seeing. So it just, again, it makes things much more immersive, and it can help reduce the amount of motion sickness that people get. So guys, I hope you have enjoyed this look at Freedom Locomotion. I have only showed you the tip of the iceberg in here. Maybe I'll make a more in-depth video at some point that really goes into the settings of this. But yeah, this is just incredible. It is free, so if you do have VR, check this out. Again, it's not really a game, but it is free, but it's incredible. This is going to blow your mind after you've done so much of you know, arm swinger. Even if you've been doing arm swinger, this is going to be a massive mind blow, because now your arms are actually free to still like go out and like hold, like this is the hand I'm doing the touchpad. Like I can look out here and still look at things and shoot things, and like it's mind-blowing. This is crazy. This is like the biggest leap in VR stuff that I've seen since Arm Swinger, really. And this fixes a lot of the problems that existed for Arm Swinger. And again, it's just a great workout. Like just doing this jogging in place kind of stuff. Running. I'm now running at 22 kilometers per hour, which I believe in our settings movement, yeah, around 20. So that's roughly the fastest I told. Let's see if we can crank it up to 30 and see if that actually does make a change. Oh yeah, I'm at 25, 27. Oh, and then I started going up a hill. Let's see if we can. There we go, 30, 31. So I'm breaking it just a little bit, but whoo, that's a good workout. That's an awesome way to just really start getting yourself moving. So yeah, I've pretty much run out of things to say, guys. I'm stunned at this. This is awesome. I hope people catch on and start using this. I hope a lot of VR developers have seen this and messed around with it and say, hey, let's implement that into our game. Let's do this. So hope you guys have enjoyed this look at Freedom Locomotion VR. Have a good one. Ta-ta. I'm gonna go climb some stuff. Whoa. Yeah. Oh, oh no, I fell. Here we go. Here we go. Whoa. And and I would have fallen to my death. Alright, that's cool. Let's call it there.